Alright, folks, welcome. Hello, I'm Jordan. This is a quick overview of why SEO and SEM must work together, especially in 2026. Look, when we are in this world of AI overviews, and all these changes on the search engine results page, these two really need to work together. Back in 2025, SEMrush came up with a really cool stat that 25% of US searches were AI overviews. That's incredible. And we're going to talk a little bit why that is so incredible for us and how we can take advantage of it as marketers. Let's dive in. So, some of the reasons why SEO and SEM belong together, really, as I said, the AIO overviews are something we're seeing way more of. And this is automatically going to push down those organic results. But at the same time, we're also seeing a huge proliferation of ads. They're showing up on the top, they're showing up in the middle, they're showing up in the bottom. There's this nice mix now, this nice blended mix of paid results and organic results. And it naturally blends well to making sure that both your SEO and SEM teams belong together and they're working together and they're working efficiently to bring your whole business results up. And that's what we're all about. The next thing you really want to think about is that, there was also an article in Forbes recently that said that we've become a brand organization. Like with all these AI things, we need to focus on brand more. And I got to be honest, SEO has always been about brand. And we're just going to do that more. You think about the top brands, the top companies that are showing up whenever you do a search, like, hey, I want to go to Rona and pick up something. They're going to show up really high if you're doing a home improvement search. Same with Home Depot. You're doing a travel search, you're going to see Expedia, you're going to see Google Flights. You're going to see the companies and businesses that are really well known. Now, Google's going to, adjust that a little bit so it doesn't become overwhelming as it's all major brand, but you have to be really cognizant that all things equal, the better brand will win. The bigger brand will win. And so set yourself up to build a brand and build it so that it succeeds really well in search. Now, there's still plenty of room and opportunity for performance marketing. That doesn't mean that we got to forget about our brand, but there's plenty of room for performance marketing. I think that's where I differentiate from that Forbes article, which you can see down in the blog post that I'm going to link to, and it's down below here on the page if you're watching right on the website. Now, that's the big thing that we need to think about. There's a big reason why 2026 is so important for those teams to get there. But there's been plenty of reasons for the longest time why SEO and SEM should be together. There's budget efficiency. There are some things where SEO can do really well, and there's some things that SEM can do really well. And when you bring those two together, you're going to be able to make all of your ships rise. And I think that's really important that we take time to combine those two powers into one superpower. And I'm going to talk specifically in just a minute around what those things are that you can do between SEO and SEM to make those things work really well. I think the other big thing to think about when we're talking about SEO and SEM being together is that people need multiple impressions of your brand, up to 7. We've known this for a long time. It's really critical that in terms of people buying from you and trusting your business, you need 7 impressions. And if you're on paid channels and you're on the organic channel, you're going to have opportunity for people to see you not only once, but twice, and maybe even more times, depending on how you have things set up. And each time they see your business, you're going to move a little bit closer to selling that product or selling your service to somebody. And I think that's really critical. So multiple impressions, super important. Keep that in mind. And overall, you're going to get better conversion rates by combining SEO and SEM. Now, let's talk a little bit about how you can actually go about doing this, how you can get your teams to line up together. The first thing is really critical, and this is Management 101. If you have something new that you want to introduce your team, you need to announce it before you go and do it. And if you're going to help your team ease into it, it's going to help them think about ways to implement. So, at your next team meeting, I'm assuming you're having team meetings. If you're not doing that, you got to set up your team meetings now. At your next team meeting, you're just going to say, hey, teams, hey, folks, we are seeing a lot of opportunities to combine SEO and SEM. Let's start working together. I'm going to give you some more instructions and more ideas of how we're going to do this very shortly, but start thinking about it now because it's coming. We're going to start working closer together with your friends over in SEM and your colleagues over at SEO. We're going to get you guys together, so start thinking about it. All right, folks, carry on. That's what you need to say. Something along those lines, all right? So next, have shared reporting on goals. Okay, so create your dashboards that show both SEO and SEM. Create those goals so that both these teams work together. You want to see the overall department develop. Super critical. Have your team stick close together. It's a little bit harder, admittedly, when you are totally remote. Group, but have your team sit together. Have them collaborate. Have them create their own Slack channel. All that sort of stuff to really bring them together. And last but not least, if it hasn't been apparent already, you got to get those teams together in your departmental meeting. Make sure that SEO and SEM are sharing insights in those meetings and get them talking and getting collaborating together. So some of the best ways to use SEO and SEM together, and this is really the fun part. This is where you're going to start making money and start bringing in revenue to your organization, start seeing that ROI that we're really looking for. Divide and conquer is probably one of my favorite ways to do it. You're going to have some keywords and some terms that work really well for SEO and others that work for SEM. So if you're saying a digital marketing consultant near me, that might be a really good SEM tactic. But if you're looking at something that's a little bit more long tail, that's a little bit more top of funnel, like for example, what do digital marketing consultants do? That might be a little bit more for your SEO team to take on. And so have your team work together and figure out which keywords are for SEO, which ones for SEM, and which ones you can try and tag team. Because I think one of the other things that you can try and do is you can own the entire SERP. You can take over the entire SERP if you have very critical keywords. You can pay for the top and middle and bottom results. You can get your SEO ranking so that somebody comes and types in whatever keyword term you're looking for. They're going to see your ad. They're going to see you in the map pack. They're going to see you in the organic listing. And that's really, really critical and really cool. It's like if somebody sees 3 times, that's 3 impressions of your brand right there. They're more likely to click into you. And so there's certain ways that you can own those things. Sometimes that's branded, sometimes you're going to use non-branded, but I definitely think that's a strategy for you to consider. One of the other things to consider is if you have SEO running, that there are some things where it can be really challenging for your search engine optimization team to capture that keyword. It might be too competitive, it might be too time consuming, it might just be, you have to create some content that's just going to be too difficult for you to create right now. Well, let's circumvent that. Let's go and put some ads for that keyword and start showing up. Okay? So don't delay. Talk to your team. Figure out which works for SEO, which works for SEM. And when you do that, you're going to have much more efficient marketing overall. One of the other ways that I really love using SEM is to run campaigns and use that to discover SEO keywords. And it's really useful when you have a broad match campaign. When you're using broad match terms, you start to see all these terms that are like, oh, wow, these terms could be really useful for our SEO team. You write those down, you send them over to your SEO team and have them start building content around them. A great way to get traffic for your site and a great way to reduce some of the, terms that just make no sense for SEM. Get rid of those, put negative keywords for them, bring them over to your SEO team and say, hey, let's rank for these. So as I alluded to, one thing that you can do is create content out of this sort of stuff. We talked a little bit about how SEM can inform SEO, and this is a great way to figure out how to do your e-commerce description, because we know that if you're running a shopping campaign, the keywords that Google is going to show up for is based off of your description. So if you're seeing some keywords that you're showing up for that don't really make sense, take a look at your product description. Have your SEO team work with your SEM team to come up with really good product descriptions that work well for SEO, but are also going to help your SEM team. I also find that this is useful for creating headlines, whether you have an SEO headline or an SEM headline. Have those teams work together, see what works better. One of the benefits of SEM is the fact that you can run multiple tests over and over really, really quickly, which is something you can't do as much on the SEO side of things. You're also going to find that there's ability to create topics and topic planning overall for your SEO when you look at some of the SEM keywords. And I think that's something that you can do really, really well. Last but not least for us, I think it's data sharing. So what you're seeing on the SEO side of things, bring those over to your SEM team and say, hey, look, this is converting really well. This keyword's really converting. Can you plug that into your SEM campaign and see if we can get some more volume on it? You also have the other way around, where you can have keywords that are working really well on the SEM side of things, and you bring those over to SEO and say, hey, let's see if we can get some more organic results. Because maybe something super expensive on the SEM side, if we can get that keyword to rank really well organically, we're saving our company a little bit of money overall. So I think that's really important to make sure those two teams are working together really, really well. And I think last but not least here, as far as data goes, is conversion rate. You might see a lot of conversion rates happening over on the SEM side of things, and you start to inform what keywords and what headlines are working well for that. Bring those over to your SEO team and help them grow as well. Last but not least, for our e-commerce fans out there, I want you to think about your inventory. So if you're seeing lots of search terms and lots of search volume on the SEM or SEO side of things, you can now start planning out your inventory. You can start to figure out when that inventory needs to come in and how much of that inventory, because you have some demand and you have some predictions around that. So that is everything for SEO and SEM. I really want you to get together with your team. Do that this week. Talk to them. Start creating some opportunities. Start growing your entire business, because that's really what it's all about. Stop working in silos. Bring those teams together, okay? Good luck. Point down in the comments if you have any questions. Otherwise, take care. Bye.